Happy post-Thanksgiving, folks. Hope it was fun and relatively stress-free. You're going to de-stress a bit with the vintage APBA bowling game. Now, they don't make this anymore. It's one of the out-of-print ones that always inspires great nostalgia and calls for bring it back. I've been looking at the Black Friday sales. I'm sure you have too. And you see that Play does Bowl-O-Rama, and they do the 1980 season, among others. I imagine, I hope, I'm going to check that out for sure. You know, this game reminds me when my dad and I had, we had matching ebonite balls, have this beautiful kind of marbled red with the big black dot, like kind of Jupiter, I guess, or something on it, and the two-tone cream and burgundy shoes. Love bowling. He actually bowled a perfect game one time when he set his mind to it. Just kind of got in that zone, but nice, the purple and yellow. It's a very Vikings kind of a color, of course, or an LSU or something like that. But man, now you've seen, I don't know too much about the history of the game other than 78 was the first pro bowling season, and I ran at least into the 80s. Our collection goes up to the 87 season set. Let's just start taking a look at this. You got 48 bowlers per season in this nice little box, kind of like the golfers you would see. Pro kegglers, of course, excuse me. Realistic strike frequency. Common spares occur most often. Rare spares and splits seldom occur. Varying effectiveness between right and left-handed. That's very key, very key there. And rare fouls and all of the rare occurrences of bowling. All of them. The box contains, etc., etc. Just really, you know, components, man. And you get your purple pin markers for the leftovers, and then you get your, let's just look at the components here. Gosh, and cry about $3.75 bowler sets. C78 was the first one, I believe. Now, if you go back to the APBA, I'm sure you'll learn more about the history of it, and more important, the calculations. As you look at the boards here, it's really wild. You know, when we first started the APBA Football Club, I started some pages on Facebook, and I've since brought those back for APBA Saddle Racing, APBA Bowling. Again, kind of creating content to draw people to APBA football years ago before you had so much content going on there. Now you got a lot of folks out there. There's a new APBA Football League in the works from Ryan Strauss, by the way. But in any case, with those saddle racing and bowling pages, I created a series called APBA Firsts, and did the bowling game for the first time. It was not thinking video or podcast, but wrote about the experiences there. And I've got my results somewhere there for the bowling game and somewhere for the golf. But this is APBA Seconds, which is apropos of Thanksgiving, I suppose. And you've got the individual bowler cards, Sliker, let's go, Mr. Anthony and Mr. Roth, the kings of the 70s, Mr. Webb, who had a great season, apparently 1980. See, I already pulled these out and did a little look at the 1980 season. Who didn't love watching bowling? It was a Saturday morning, and Zurich and Berardi and Schlegel. I pulled out just the West Pearl River. That's not too far. And Centerport and Brooklyn and Attleboro and Allentown, Wrestler, Petraglia, Hutchinson, Couture, Pete Couture, a great name. That's just a smooth name. Albee and Baker, Beckman. I think the previous owner from whom I acquired this set must have re-alphabetized, because I've got some score sheets in here. You'll see Ellenberg and Falgram. It's great stuff, and with just all you need is one set. You don't even need them all. But I'm sure, I know if you go back to the APBA Journal, if you buy that from Baltasarari online, the flash drive you can get at eBay, you'll find some of the homebrew sets. There's a 2021 homebrew set of bowling cards, APBA bowling cards floating around out there. Jim Winklepeck of Gladstone, Oregon. Guppy Troop of South Carolina. Charlie Tapp, Art Trask, Alvin Liu, Kyle Shedd. These guys, just... It was a great history, and you just, these guys on that circuit, wild stuff, wild memories, and, it was certainly not necessarily all the glamour of your big 3 or 4 sports, but darn it, fun to watch, and it's kind of a civilian game, right? We all can play it. I'd love to get back into it. And then you get candlestick and duck pin. You get up here. what was it, candlestick? Yeah, there was thin straight ones, and the duck pin with the really round bottoms. Here in APBA Bowling, you get the pin deck. This is the thin style, like the football instructions. You get this instruction sheet, but it's not the entirety of the instructions. This tells you a bit about how to roll the game, and then you got your spare board A, and more instructions for using them, and you see the how you look up the single pin, 2-pin, 3-pin spares, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 3, 4. And on those cases where you see the lefty righty, you see who gets the advantage, say 1, 3, 6. That's right down the pipe there. So that 1, 3, 6, you see who gets the advantage. Suddenly the lefty has a little more advantage. That S means you get the spare outright. The RP 5, 6, and 7 means you have to go to these little RP columns tucked away here. And I mean, the level of calculation from going to this to going to that and refining that ball motion or ability to hit these spares is simply amazing. The 4-pin, the 5-pin, the 6-pin, the 8-pin, it's just, it's amazing the way they created the game. You look at it, here's the strike board. This is the big mama. This is where you start. And as you can see, these strikes get a little harder to get, starting your, the 8th frame, the 9th frame, the 10th frame. So it's, it's well thought out. You either roll, we'll show you on the cards here, you roll, you've got 2 columns for the bowlers, X and S. That's your first roll. On X is your strike, the strike board, and second is your spare split roll. And you'll either get a number from 1 to 14, or you'll get into one of these T, O, S, O1, or O2. Again, it's fascinating. How do you, why not A, B, C, D? Got to go back to the APBA journals and find a history. If you know the history, please just fire away in the comments here. That's how you use a strike. They mentioned on the box the consecutive, I think they mentioned that. In any case, it's a nice little mechanism. As you get 3 consecutive strikes, and then you roll a number from 2 to 14. Well, I believe that's these numbers up here, the straight numbers, not the lettered things here. So when you get into the letters on the strike board, you go in a 2 to 12 roll. But 3 consecutive strikes, you go up a point. You go, if you get, 10 would become a 9, etc. And a 3 becomes a 2. 4 consecutive strikes, you go up 2 points. And 5 or 6 consecutive strikes, you go up 3 points. So there's a nice little mechanism. It raises the ante a bit there. And then on the back here, you've got the RPO board. And I talked about, this is the occurrences, the weird occurrences. And who wouldn't love some of this stuff? Well, obviously not a gutter ball for football, unless somebody threw a bowling ball in the field, which you would not want to see. Gutter ball, bowler slips, miss all, 10 pins. Ouch. Bowler injured, leg trouble, must forfeit the game. Foul, bowler encroaches beyond the foul line. Roll counts, no pins credited. So bowler's efficiency increases. See explanation 3 above. See, now here is another one. Increase bowlers numbers 6 through 10 in the strike column to 1 point, numbers 5 through 10 by 1 point for the remainder of the game. So that's a cool little, see, there's a nice little in-game motivational reward, and this is something I talked about in one of the football videos. And other folks have talked about too, raising players' points from 5 to 10, or let's say you get, I think baseball has that, where you get X consecutive whatever. You know, in football, let's say you had a Phil Simms Super Bowl, you get 5 consecutive passes, maybe you raise, you have some reward there. You go up a line in your next passing, if you're having that kind of game of completions, or 5 straight rushing attempts with a gain, or 5 receptions. You can build momentum for football players. But let's go back to the bowling, our rare plays here. Fouling, bowling encroach beyond the line, roll counts. Bowler's efficiency increases. Where's the one? Bowler disqualified for unreasonable delay. Bad behavior. Bowler's efficiency increases again. Gutter ball, bowler slips and misses all 10 pins. Bowler develops finger blister. The old, I got blisters on my finger play. So really wild stuff. Gutter ball, bowler slips and misses all 10 pins. I think we read that. Distraction by moving object. moving object. And I know people have done this with football boards. You get the streaker, you know, on the RP. I don't know if that's actually on the football RPs, but this came out before the RPs. You know, this is the 40th anniversary almost of the Apple Football Master game with that red rare play board. So these actually had some rare outcomes first. Bowling game, 4-pin splits. What else? Your 3 pins. All the splits. Another split board here. Your 4-pin, your 7-pin splits. I didn't list all those, but you see the 4 pins there. And are there any lefty-righty advantages here? Don't see them there. There's your 5-pin split. Ooh. So, you know, you've got to really do some looking up here, but it's cool because you got a lot of options. Then your spares. There's your 6-pin, 7-pin. Wow. And S again means you just pick the spare up. Scoring instructions just wedged in there. It's a layout. It's a layout challenge to be sure, and I think they did a pretty darn great job. Rare 2-pin spares. Okay, rare 3-pin spares. So you get one of those funky little outcomes, but you're a pro, you know, if you're an Earl Anthony. And here are some filled out sheets. So somebody loved that game. That's the original purple, and you just scan them. Let's grab one of these. So we definitely use this game a bit. Let's do a little bit of a quick playthrough here with, let's take let's take the pin board. Okay. And let's do, let's take Messrs. Anthony, Roth and Webb. Let's do it reverse alphabetical. Let's go Mr. Webb, who's, 1980 was his year, all right? Whereas Anthony and Roth had shared some of the accolades. Like I said, I did a little look up here. So let's write it down. Webb, Roth, and Anthony. And note that Webb and Roth are right-handed, and Anthony's left-handed. So right, left. Those lefties. I'm a lefty too. It's a weird thing. Throwing the ball left, but writing right-handed. Very strange. So let's do 3 frames here, see what we get. See if I'm doing this right. We'll roll Mr. Webb a 13 on his X or strike column right there. Beautiful. And that should be an easy strike. Let's get the strike board and have that out. Let's see, where did we go? Is that it? Yeah, that's your 13 is a 1 right off the bat. No problem there. And so I'll just note that. Following on Mr. Roth. This should be a pretty good strike fest, I would think. 62, Mr. Roth, and his strike column is a 1. They all have 1s there, in fact. And again, that's the first frame. You saw that, so that's another strike. And let's see, Mr. Anthony. Round it out here with a 46 is a 1. No, that's a T. All right, so that T, 46T, means you're going to look it up. You got to re-roll for that one. And we're going to re-roll, whoops, all the way down. It is a 1. It's a 1, 3, which you're going to read as a 4, first frame. And you go to the T section, and you left a 6, 9, 10 spare. Okay. 6, 9, 10. Should be easy. 6, 9, 10. Although for a lefty, yeah, you're rolling into that. So you're going to note that he hit 7 pins there. And you're going to look at the 3-pin spare. And a 6, 9, 10. 3-pin spare. It should be on the spare. It's not a split. So 6, 9, 10. 6, 9, 10. And here we have the lefty-righty advantage, disadvantage. It's 6, 9, 10 there. Left, right. Well, he's a lefty, so he's going to get it straight down to there. He gets that one piece of advantage, that one line of advantage. Now it's a 64, and we're looking on his spare column, the S. So that is a 5, and that's well within that 6, 9, 10 left column. That 5 gives you the S. So, these guys are no problem shooters here. Second frame, Mr. Webb. Also 24 is a 1, and that should be a strike. I mean, basically, 1, 2, 3, 4 is a strikes all the way to the 7th frame, so we don't even need to really look that up. So that's a strike. Mr. Webb. Here comes Mr. Roth following a 65. It's an 01, so we look in that other area on the strike board. We got to roll again. Roll that 5-3 is so that was an 01. This is the second frame. 5-3 is 8. You combine it there, or you add it rather. 8 in the second frame. He left a 1-3-5-8. Ooh, he leaves 1-3-5-8, so he's only got 6 pins there. And 1-3-5-8. That's a funky one from Mr. Roth. So let's see if we can first find that spare. That's a 4-pin, 1-3-5-8. 1-3-5-8. We have it. All right, 1-3-5-8. I don't imagine a problem. That's a 14. Jeez. Roth 14. Horrible roller is an 8. That should be on a 1-3-5-8. Yeah. Get across 1-3-5-8. Yeah, no problem. He got that. That's easy enough. All right. So let's see. Mr. Roth has 20 in the first frame. Mr. Anthony rolls a 61. He's a strike there, top of the second frame. Just second frame. All right. Back to Mr. Webb. Let's see how we wrap up here. If we do wrap it up, 24 is a 1. Is another strike, so there's your 30. Right? And Mr. Roth, a 32, is a 6 on the strike board. Top of the third frame, 6 is a 7. He left the 7 pin. Looks like that's an easy one. And that's, sorry, Mr. Roth. And he's going to roll for that 7 pin on the spare column. S31 on the S column is a 4 for him. And that's spare. That's your single pin. 31 is a 4. And lefty righty again. There's 7 and the 10. You see the nice little delineation there. For a lefty, the 7 is a tougher get by 1. And for the righty, the 10 is the harder get by 1. But in any case, 4 for the 7 pin. That's an easy get from Mr. Roth. So knock that in. And he got that spare. We'll just add that 40, right? Wow, yeah, excuse me. No. Just give me a second. Let's do Mr. Anthony here first. Get him situated. 26 is a T. Third frame. Third frame, 7. T7 in the third frame. Mr. Anthony, who is a lefty, gets the 1-3-5. He leaves a 1-3-5. All right. 1-3-5. That's 7 for him. Anthony. Roll that 7-3-5 is a 33. Is a 1. So that's easy. That's an easy. They're both 1-1s at 11:33.66. And as also a 22. Well, Webb is a 2 at 22S, as is Roth. But Anthony's got that 1-1. He's got that extra power at 22. But in any case, 33 is a 1 on the 1-3-5 spare. 3-pin spare. 1-3-5. Easy breezy. So just adding that up. So let's see, 7, 10, that's a 20, all right? And that's 20, yeah. And then you'd have to go the 4th frame. Let's go the 4th frame, I guess, just to add up and see. We'll just add up 3 frames of output here. 23 for Webb is an 11. That's interesting. And same for Roth and same for Anthony. So 2311, fourth frame, top of the fourth frame. 11 on the strike board, fourth frame. He leaves the 2 and 4 pins. All right, he's going to leave the 2 and 4. All right, that should be easy. Can you see that really? All right, that should be writing it over here. All right, 2 and 4, 2 pin. 23, he rolls the 11. All right, 2 pins spare. That old 2-4. And that 23 is an 11. Ooh. And he got it. If not, he'd have to go to the rare. So the 2-4 spare, he rolls an 11. All right. Now, had he rolled the 13, he goes to the RP3. So if he goes to the RP3, you compare the 2-4 here. He's got S's to 12 all the way to number 12. Here you've got S's to 11. So that gets you, instead of, 12 numbers from 1 to 12 here, and then there's 3 extra rares there on the RP. If you had to roll the RP 3 or 4 on that 2 pin, you then drop down to 1 pin there. Interesting, just a little, the subtleties in getting those numbers. In any case, Roth nails that, and so that's should be 10, 20, that's 30, it's 60, all right? And 10, 20, 80, all right? So you got the 8, and you've got the spare. And then Mr. Roth, on the strike, he got the 1, 2, 10 there, so you got the 6, 10, 19, should be 39, should it not? And then he's going to roll for the extra ball there. I believe I get that right. All right, rolling for Mr. Roth, 16 is a 1. That's a straight strike. Top of the fourth. And Mr. Anthony rolls a 51. That's also a strike. Ooh, I feel like I'm playing a baseball game. So, Mr. Anthony is a 10, 20, so that should be 40. And that... Mr. Roth at 39, he got that 20, should be 59 there. And with that strike, we're going to have to add, no, we already have that, so that 10, 20, 60, correct there. Webb would win that 80 to 60 to 59, if I have that correct. Bowling scoring. Well, in any case, it goes a little something like that. So... now, as I understand it, as I've said, I think in another video, and as I've heard around the interwebs, that apparently the chemical process required to make these boards is simply not allowed anymore. So I don't know. I mean, I'm more an offset printing myself. All you got to do, if you just lay it out, go straight to plate and print it off on something, some kind of glossy paper. But if you're trying to recreate this exact method, I don't know. But in any case, keep your eyes peeled. You see these pop up on occasion. You see that APBA, put up the some of the saddle racing sets, not the instruction boards. But I tell you, you know what? My advice would be just do a Kickstarter. Just do a Kickstarter for a premium edition, premium APBA Bowling. We're bringing it back. If we get X number, you know how it works. Indiegogo, Kickstarter. You set a pledge minimum. If we get the pledge, we do go forward with the project. So let's clamor for, let's not bother them too terribly much. I mean, it's a very small, speaking of that, since we're talking about Black Friday, customer service, these companies are 1-person shops, 2-person shops, maybe 3, 4, whatever. Let's not give them a hassle. Let's be kind for the holidays. De-stress, bowl. You're just bowling. It's not a big deal, so check out some APBA Bowling. If you've got it, pull it out. It's that easy. Check out some Play Bowlerama and have a ball.